Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you are joining me for the first time, I'd like to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you about speaking your truth. And there's a reason that I want to talk to you about this, but I want to tell you a little story first. And this is why this subject came up to me. And when I did my meditation, my guides were like, you have to talk about this. So I went and looked at some of my podcast reviews the other day. I love looking at them. I love getting feedback, and I love hearing what other people say. And there was a review, and it said, love it, and then it said, I discovered this podcast. The only thing is the dogs in the background are distracting at times. And of course, immediately I'm like, oh, geez, yeah, because I know whenever I try to record sometimes, it's like immediately the dogs know and they start wrestling and fighting. And right now, I don't have space in my home I don't have an office. And I work during the day, so trying to find time to record the podcast can be difficult for me. So it's usually just when I can get a chance. And it's not ideal to record at home, so I try to go other places, but it's not always a possibility. But I thought, oh, okay, I need to take that into consideration. And people have said before, like, oh, we hear Nala sometimes on the podcast. But that was a good feedback for me that I need to just pause when she starts doing that and just try to distract her, take her outside or something. So I appreciate the feedback, but also on one hand, a small part of me was like, oh, well, what if other people see that review and then they think, well, I'm not going to even bother listening to that podcast because there's always dog barking. And they don't bark in every episode because I don't record every episode at home. So I thought, oh, yikes. Well, that's there. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't distract anyone from the podcast. But it's good feedback, But I felt like I should address it here because I appreciate all the feedback that I get, and I appreciate all of the reviews. And I want to state that right away. So I appreciate whoever left the review for me. But also, as a business owner, it's also that kind of feedback, like I would prefer if you could just send to me and not have out there, although it's your right to leave whatever kind of feedback you want. And I totally understand the dog thing. They do that. And I need to be better about not having them do that. But it's like if you put your name out there, you don't want to be associated with the person who has dogs distracting in the background and barking, and you don't want to be known as that. And so at first I was like, oh, wow, that's going to be out there, and then people are going to see that, and they may not even bother trying to listen to my podcast. But then I thought, no, you know what? It's okay. It's fine. Because I have to be secure in who I am. And who I am is a person who shows up authentically. And me showing up authentically is sometimes my dogs barking in the background. And the reason that happens is because I'm a single mom. I work a full-time job plus own my own business on the side. So finding time to record this podcast is not always the easiest thing in the world for me. So sometimes it's like you get what you get. And I do understand I want people to enjoy it and I want people to listen. But I will say that that's why that happens. I don't want you to think like, I don't really care what I'm doing, and if they're barking, whatever. I do care. I totally care about this podcast. I care about my listeners, and I want you to have the best experience possible. In fact, you might have noticed a while back, I had feedback. I had this weird crackling noise when I was recording my podcast. And it was because I was recording it through Podbean itself. And it had to be on Podbean's end because then I would try recording just on a different program and there was nothing. So I switched because I didn't want, my podcast listeners to hear that. And it was annoying to me. And I'm like, this has to be annoying to them, and I didn't want to lose any followers. So I switched and I started recording on something else. And you had to basically add another step into finishing the podcast and uploading it. It was like you had to download it, then you had to upload it, then you had to do this. So there was extra steps I had to do. But I thought it was worth it because I didn't want to have that distraction. It was distracting to me when I listened to the playback. And I don't listen back to every podcast. I don't. I don't have time for one thing, and another thing, I'm like everyone else. I don't really like to hear the sound of my own voice, which might sound funny because here I have this podcast, but it's true. I'd rather not listen to it. So I don't always hear the things that show up in the podcast. But I do want to, give you a podcast that is high quality. And that's what I wanted to say. I don't want you to think that I don't take time to record. What happens when the dogs start barking? That's, I'm usually in another room and I have them blocked off so they can't get into the room I'm in, but you can still hear them when they're in the other room. So I do need to figure something out about that. So I just wanted to let you know that I heard the feedback and I am going to try to be better about that. And I appreciate the feedback. But also, I'm speaking my truth and telling you that this is me and this is how I show up. And it's not to be like, I don't care what people think about my dogs in the background. That's not it at all. This is when I was able to find time to help people and to record this. And so this is when I'm going to do it. Now I realize that I could pause the recording and then go and stop them. The problem too is that I'm channeling sometimes when I'm recording and what I'm saying, and it's coming to me as I'm saying it to you. And when I stop and then I have to go do something, it's like I lose the channel that's coming through. So that's another reason why I don't stop it always, because I don't want to lose the thought that I was giving you, because it's being channeled from spirit. And I want to make sure you're getting the best message possible. And so many of you have said, well, everything that you say is exactly what I needed to hear. Well, there's a reason for that, because I'm not really the one giving the message. It's spirit guiding the message. So that's why it's perfect for you, because spirit knows what you need to hear and when you need to hear it. And it's like people telling me, well, I was listening to one podcast and all of a sudden yours just started playing and I didn't even click on it. I don't know how that happened. Well, it wasn't me. It was spirit guiding you to listen to my podcast because there's something that I'm talking about that you need to hear. Or they think that, I can possibly help you in your life, which is humbling and it's an honor, but it's really all spirit. And the reason that I talk about this too is because I did a Facebook Live yesterday with Heather Doran, who is going to be leading this financial and personal power class with me, and we're helping people to get a hold of their finances and get out of debt, or at least give you a map and a road plan for getting out of debt and helping you to take back your personal power and to step into your truth. And we were talking last night all about speaking your truth. And I did a whole Facebook Live about manifesting your ideal clients. And I told her, manifesting clients is really just manifesting. So we were talking about how you have to show up energetically when you want to do that. But the other thing that I said is important if you're a business person is you have to show up authentically, because people are connecting to your energy. You're connecting to me because you like my energy, you like the vibe I'm putting off. And you may not even agree with every single thing I say, but you trust me because I'm sharing with you who I am, and you know who I am. And I feel this way about teaching. I said this last night. The kids do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's true. If you don't build relationships with your students, they don't care. The relationships that you have with them are what helps them to trust you and to want to learn from you. And when you don't trust somebody and you don't like them, it's hard to learn from them. It really is. We were discussing this. I've had teachers in the past, and I know my son had a teacher, and it was the roughest year for him because he just did not like this teacher. And it was almost like he was bound and determined not to pass because he didn't like the teacher. And he would say, well, I don't like her, so why should I learn? He has to learn this lesson of sometimes we just have to learn from people we don't like. But if you have the choice to pick people, you're going to pick the people that you like and that you trust and that you relate to. And you're picking up on their energy, because whether you know it or not, everyone gives off energy, and you can pick up on that. And even if you think, well, I'm not an empath, it does not matter. You still pick up on people's energy. You can read it. Some people are just better at knowing what they're picking up than others. It's like when you meet a person for the first time, you feel their energy and it's really icky. They have a really nasty kind of energy, and you maybe don't know what it is about that person, but you just know you don't really care for that person. And we've all had that happen. You know, you meet someone and you're just like, I don't know, something's off. I just don't really like this person. And you know, people will say, well, what is it? Well, tell me why you don't like them. And you can't give them a reason. You just don't like that person. You know, I've had people when, you know, they'll be a friend of a friend, and we will meet for the first time, and they'll say, well, what did you think of so-and-so? And I'll say, well, I got to be honest, I really didn't care for that person. Well, what was it? Well, what didn't you like? And you can't really put a finger on it. You know, I don't know. It's something's off. I just don't really know. And then you find out later, you were totally right. That person like stabbed your friend in the back or whatever. But you knew all along. You didn't know why you knew. You just knew you knew. And I feel like it is the same way when you want to manifest clients and you want people to come to you. It's like they're feeling your energy. So if they sense that you have this off-putting energy and you're negative, they're going to want to work with you. So I think that when we speak our truth, people connect with us even more. And that way, you know, you're being your authentic self. And the universe is telling you, you have to speak your truth. You have to speak up for yourself, and you have to be who you really are. What I think is so interesting, I was just reading an entire article about relationships, and this relates, so it's kind of a long story, but it really does relate to speaking your truth. In this article, they were talking about how so many women end up driving away their partners. And they do it in the weirdest way possible. And I know, I can speak from experience, I've totally done this. They are too giving and they pay too much attention to their partners. So what ends up happening is like they're too accommodating, right? You might just think that, oh, I'm being really flexible and I'm trying to just work with this person so that they are really happy and then we're going to be happy in this relationship. But here's what happens. Like you don't speak your truth, right? They say, I want pizza, and you're thinking, pizza sounds awful, but I just want to make my partner happy, so I'll tell them, yes, pizza's fine. Or they'll say, I want to go to the movies, and I want to see this movie, and it's something you don't want to see at all. And there's a difference between saying, I don't want to see this movie, but if, you know, we need to compromise, so if you want to see it, I'll go with you. That's different. But just saying, yeah, I love that movie, even though you hate it. Or, yeah, I like that kind of food, even though you hate it. It's like you're not showing up who you truly are. You're just being accommodating, and you're basically changing your personality and changing who you are to make your partner happy because you think it's going to make your partner happy. And it does the opposite, actually. They become very, you know, bored and just like, oh, you're too clingy and you're too needy because, you know, it's like you're constantly trying to look after my needs, and that's not what they want. They just want you to show up and be yourself, but we try to be accommodating and shower them with attention, and what it does is it drives them in the opposite direction. And it all stems because we don't speak our truth. And there's so many women who make that mistake. I don't understand, I guess maybe because in some ways we almost have like a motherly instinct, but men don't want to marry their moms. Like that's really not what they want to do. So when you are giving off that energy of like, I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to this and that, and it's like smother. Well, take the S off that word. What do you get? Mother. So you're like freaking them out, and you're making them not want to come to you because, again, they don't want to date their moms. And the other thing is, you feel like you're desperate. You're giving a desperate vibe, and you're very clingy, and it comes across as needy, even though that's not really what it is. Like, it comes across as that vibe. I know that's not what it is because I've been there myself. And when I was experiencing it, it wasn't like I was needy. I just was trying to be a people pleaser, because that was my nature. That was my nature with everyone, not just, you know, a romantic partner. I was just treating that person the same way I really would have treated anyone else that wasn't like a super close family member. But now I see like why that's wrong, right? They want to be treated like someone who knows you that well because you're not afraid to be who you really are in front of that person. That's the thing that attracts them, not the I'm going to be what I think you want me to be rather being yourself. So when you don't speak your truth in relationships, you end up driving away love. But the other thing is you end up feeling resentful too, because if you're overgiving and you're trying to really satisfy your partner and make sure that they're happy, you are overextending yourself. You're going to be emotionally drained and you're going to be tired and you're going to be mad. You're just going to be downright mad because your partner isn't going to tell you, thank you for all the things you do and I recognize and appreciate that. No, they're not going to do that. They're actually going to be a little put off by everything that you've done too. They're just going to take it for granted because you always do that. It's when you're your true self and there's equal give and take 50-50 that they actually appreciate what you do when you go out of your way, because you're not going out of your way all the time. There's no need to do that. So it's really a strange scenario. Really, if you think about it, it's quite the opposite of what you would imagine. You would think that being a people pleaser and being the way someone you think they want to be would attract them, but it actually does the exact opposite. So it's so super important if you're in a relationship now or if you're starting to date that you remember you've got to be yourself. Okay, and if you're yourself and that person doesn't like you, it wasn't meant for you. And that's not a bad thing. It means that the universe has your back and the universe is looking out for you and the universe has someone much better for you. So don't be afraid to be who you are and be yourself. You know, that person is really just dying to see who you are. And if you're like me, I never used to show people who I was because there were several reasons. Number one, I just thought that I was making the person happy and that's what we were supposed to do, and I completely had that all wrong. And number two, I have been hurt so many times in the past that I was afraid to really let my true self shine. And I recognize that now. I did not recognize what I was doing in the past. In the past, it was like, what? What do you mean? How could they not know all these awesome things I am and that I do for them and that this and that? And then when it was explained to me that this is what happens, it was like my mind was blown. But then it was a huge aha moment, like, oh yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, I don't want to be with somebody who's just saying yes to everything just to please me. I don't want that either. Like, that would be boring. Or that would feel like I was being suffocated if this person was constantly trying to, get my attention. And like, no, I wouldn't want that either. So yeah, now I get it. And I didn't get that before. And now I do. But it really all comes down to speaking your truth. And that doesn't mean that you're going to fight all the time just because you speak your truth. Oftentimes when you speak your truth, the other person's feeling the same way, but you would never know it because you didn't speak your truth. But if you speak your truth, you find out, oh yeah, we kind of believe the same thing. Or if you don't believe the same thing, that's okay too, because it makes for interesting conversation. You don't have to have every value be the same as your partner. There's room for being able to discuss things and work things out, which makes it a little more exciting. And if you're in business and you're speaking your truth, you're going to attract your soulmate clients to you because they are going to appreciate, number one, your honesty. And number two, they're going to feel your energy and connect with you. I have people all of the time say, well, I like you because you talk about this and the same thing happened to me. So you're connecting with me because we have similar stories. You can connect with me because you connect with the life that I've lived, the stories that I tell. It's like they resonate with you because you're either going through the same thing or you have in the past, or it just makes sense to you. And that's what draws you back every day. It's not this, well, I follow her because she has this perfect No, and it's not ever going to be a perfect podcast. That's just not who I am. I don't have time, number one, to sit down and just make sure everything is just so. And I don't say that to, put in anyone's face like, well, I love imperfection. I'm not saying that, but honestly, I kind of do. I do resonate more with people who show up and are not perfect, picture perfect. Yeah, there are a lot of mentors out there who it looks like every single thing is perfect for them. Their social media posts, all those things look perfect and they never make mistakes. I don't resonate as much with those people as I do with someone who's as much as I resonate with someone who looks a little disheveled or who has, kids running around their home and they're trying to work while their kids are right there. I identify with that because that's my life too. My life's kind of crazy and chaotic as well. So I identify with people who look like, I'm not perfect and I don't have it all together all the time because that is my story. Just as many of you resonate with me or other people have commented, it's so funny when your dog barks in the background. It's like, yeah, I know she wants attention. It's just we're human and that's what happens. So you're attracting people with the energy that you're putting out. So you better make sure that you're really speaking your truth because that's what people are going to connect with anyway. And that's the most important thing. And I know for me, when I'm speaking my truth, that is when people connect with me even more. So I do appreciate the honest feedback that I get. I really, really do. Because it helps me to see ways that I can be better and how I can improve. But also, I want to address it too, to say, this is who I am. And yeah, I can make improvements, sure. But I am who I am. And for the most part, I try to do these podcasts so that I'm not disturbed. But you will not believe sometimes what I have to go through to get these on the air. I get disrupted so many times, and so much goes on, and it's very hectic and chaotic. And I love it, and I will continue to do it for as long as people want to listen. But that is why it is the way it is. It's because this is me. This is me and all of my flawed, hot mess glory. And I love that last night we were on the Facebook Live and I think it was Jennifer said, we're all on the Hot Mess Express. I love that. Is that not the truth? Yes, we are all on the Hot Mess Express. I'm probably the conductor on the Hot Mess Express. That is me. I don't have it all together. And that's okay. I don't have to know all of the answers. I don't have to have all of the answers. I just have to show up. And that's what the universe is telling you. The universe is saying you don't have to have it all together. You don't have to have all of the answers. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be able to figure it all out yet. And that's the key word, yet, because it will come to you. But you have got to show up. And some of you are not even showing up in your own lives because you're just being a people pleaser, going along, doing your thing, letting other people tell you what to do, instead of standing up for yourself and speaking your truth. And we talked about how you might need to open your throat chakra. And one of the crystals you can use for that is that lapis lazuli. You can visualize your throat chakra opening. It's located in your throat. Look at your throat area. It's a pale blue color. Imagine that it gets brighter and brighter. I sometimes imagine that Archangel Michael takes his white sword of healing light and kind of just brushes around the throat chakra, clearing it of anything that might be blocking it. But we need to open that because people need to hear your truth. People need to hear you. Think about me. I have so many people who are like, thank you for doing this podcast. And when I have to miss or something for a day, I get notes from people that, oh, we missed your podcast. And aside from making me feel incredibly blessed and good, and thank you for that, it also makes me realize that if I had never spoken my truth, if I had never shown up, then you wouldn't have one to listen to at all. I had to let go of fear. And believe me, there was a lot of fear surrounding starting this podcast. I knew I didn't have the perfect podcast equipment. I didn't have the best of the best. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the sound room. I don't have any of that. I just showed up. And I knew that the universe was just asking me to show up. The universe was saying, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know all this. Just show up. And that's what the universe is saying to you too. You don't have to have all the answers right now, and you don't have to be perfect. As I'm sitting here recording this podcast for you right now, I got interrupted 5 times and had to stop and restart and trim and all of this stuff. So perfection, just throw that out the window. Perfection is just a form of fear. It's keeping you stuck. Procrastination is a form of fear. It's keeping you stuck. Just show up. Speak your truth. Be who you are. And your tribe is going to find you, I promise you. And I know because that's what happened with me. And I know it will happen for you too. And I am so super grateful for each and every one of you who have shown up to support me. And you're working on something and you're doing something, let me know, because I want to turn right around and support you right back. We have so many amazing, beautiful, talented people in this group, and it's incredible. We're blessed to have this group of people. So just show up, be yourself, be authentic, speak your truth, and you will never let anyone down. Well, guys, I wanted to pull a card for you to give you a little inspirational message before I leave. And to everyone who leaves reviews for me, thank you. I really appreciate that. I really, really do. If you haven't already subscribed to my podcast, then you'll know whenever I get a new episode. And share it with your friends, please. That helps so much. It helps other people find me, helps other people find the light. Our mission here is to help raise the vibration of the collective, I should say, and to help other people find the light, to find beauty in darkness, because everywhere we look, we turn around and we just see darkness, and there's still light there, and we're helping people. We are the light. We're showing people there's still good in the world. All right, your message today is from the Heart Thoughts deck by Louise Hay. It is, I am a loving, joyful person. I release all thoughts and vibrations of confusion, chaos, disharmony, disrespect, or distrust. They are eliminated from my consciousness completely. I love that. Don't allow confusion, chaos, disharmony, any of those things. Don't allow that to throw you off course. You don't need to feel those feelings, okay? Know that you are being guided. The universe has your back. The universe is working on your behalf behind the scenes, okay? And there's so many awesome opportunities for you to work with me coming up. Heather and I have this class. You can go onto my website and look up more information about it. It's the Transition into Independence and Personal and Financial Freedom, I believe is what it's called. It was a very long title. So it is on my website. You can go there and check out the details. You can also listen to the podcast that we recorded about the class or my Facebook Live that we did about the class. You can also book a session with me if you want to get Reiki or a reading, or you want spiritual coaching. You can also do that. People reach out to me all the time and they want to know, I want to work with you, but I'm not really sure what I need. Call me or text me. We can talk about it over the phone and we can work through it and see what would be best for you. So all of that information is there on my website. My contact information is in the description of this podcast. As always, I hope you have a beautiful day. Don't forget, if you have not subscribed to my website yet, go do that, because you will get a free morning and evening meditation. Meditations are so awesome for balancing your energy and just helping you relax and de-stress. So go do that if you haven't already. And as always, I am sending you massive love and light. I love you all. Thank you all. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.